Horikoshi just finished the masterclass in character development payoff in chapter 322 of My Hero Academia. If you're at all a fan of My Hero Academia, the story as a whole, or specifically Bakugo, this chapter is going to be one of your favorites of all time, as I know it is mine, and it made me cry and feel emotions I have not in My Hero Academia in forever, even more than some of the death and huge moments that have happened throughout the series. We have seen Bakugo slowly growing as a character from the pretty much semi-villain he was in the very first chapter to where he was at the end of chapter 322. You wouldn't be able to tell anyone that this good of a character development was going to happen, and now it's here, and that's why chapter 322 is amazing. And I'm going to break down everything that happened in the chapter and what's going to come next. My name is Andrew Nimsgern, and I am here with the Class 1A podcast, breaking down each and every manga chapter, and this is chapter 322 that I will be diving into and giving the full recap. If you do enjoy this and you're looking for other My Hero Academia content, make sure to go over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and check out all of our other content. We do anime recaps, team-up mission recaps, and so much more, so go and check that out if you're looking for other great My Hero Academia content. But with that, let's jump right into the chapter. The chapter is titled Great Explosion Murder God Dynamite, and he deserves to have a chapter named after him because Bakugo was the spotlight of this chapter, with all of his character development finally coming to the finale, it feels like, with all the emotions he's been holding up for 322 chapters now finally being released. The chapter actually starts with Deku still up in the air, holding on to Ingenium's hand, thinking that he needs to let go, but knowing that he no longer has the strength to do so. Urardi releases her quirk and they begin to fall down on the ground. Ida begins thinking about how he's going to land this, but luckily Hiroshima was in the right spot at the right moment and catches both of them, and at the same time tells Deku that he remembers an old story about a kid his age that rushed in to try to save a friend from a villain and just reacted without thinking. Hiroshima realizes now that that was Deku and that they're doing a similar thing for Deku that he did all that time back for Bakugo. Everyone else catches up as Pinky tells Deku that she doesn't want to lose anyone else and to return to UA so that they can have classes together and stuff. Deku stands up saying that he wants to, and he considers it way too dangerous with all the people that are already there, and says that he can't go back to the way that he was and he just can't go back to UA. Dynamite walks over and asks if he remembers what he said as Shigaraki stabbed him during the war. When Deku says he doesn't, Dynamite reminds him that he said stop trying to win this on your own. And after that, he said that he felt like his body moved on his own, again, very similar to what Deku did all the way back when he got stabbed. Dynamite admits that he looked down on Deku because he was quirkless and therefore felt that Deku was way behind Bakugo, but the truth was that this entire time, he always felt like Deku was actually above Bakugo, which we kind of had an idea that Bakugo always felt inferior to Deku for sometimes, but this is the first time Bakugo is ever saying it out loud. Dynamite's words snap Deku to his senses as Dynamite tells him that his choices weren't necessarily misguided and that everything Deku's done up to this point is pretty much the right path, but he can't continue doing this anymore. He's barely able to move. He can't really even stand up anymore after this brief confrontation with Class 1A, so how is he going to defeat All for One? If he encounters a hurdle, he has his friends rely on that he doesn't have to do all of his own, and that if he's going to surpass All Might, he's going to need to protect everyone at UA and the civilians, and the class is going to be there to help hold him up. Deku continues to try to walk forward and then collapses into Bakugo's arms, apologizing about everything he said about everyone not being able to keep up, and Dynamite accepts him as he catches him. When Deku finally wakes up, we actually get a huge face reveal of 13 here, which I loved. A lot of people are super excited to see it and wasn't expected at all, but who informs them most of the civilians are evacuating to the various different centers. That pretty much the people that are out there are pretty much those riders that are just kind of riding the raid to get as much out of it as they can, or the anti-hero kind of vigilantes who slowly over time, more and more people are starting to come into these shelters as this anti-hero sentiment is kind of going away, and that anyone that does stay out there and kind of forms these gangs are very, very easy to take care of. Deku realizes that he was back at UA, and we see UA is this huge castle-like citadel now. It does not look like a school at all, and then apparently goes all the way over to Shiketsu High even. So this is a huge kind of connection. I don't know if there are actual castle walls going all around it, if there's underground tunnels. It's not exactly clear how it's connected to Shiketsu, but nonetheless, this is a place to be reckoned with, and maybe almost a great final battleground. As Deku goes in, he starts to see a group of protesters who are all demanding that Deku is not let in. The civilians have an idea that he is the one that is considered a ticking time bomb and that is being targeted by Shigaraki, so that allowing him in there would pretty much put UA at risk. They say that he should go elsewhere, and Deku even considers leaving, that hey, they're not that bad, and it's pretty much reconfirming everything that Deku's been thinking in his head, that me being here is putting everyone in danger. But Ochako tells him to stop and not to worry about it, because when the heroes need help, who is going to worry about them, with the chapter kind of ending there with Ochako holding his hand. And wow, just another emotional moment at the end, seeing Ochako kind of supporting Deku and wanting to lift him up, that she's always kind of talked about throughout the entire series. After Bakugo going through and revealing all of his feelings to Deku, I couldn't imagine a more emotional chapter coming until maybe the finale or a major death of a character of the Bakugo tier. Outside of that, not very much can match the emotions that you feel in this chapter. So if you were a My Hero Academia fan, the wait was worth it, because for Shonen Jump readers, you had to wait an extra day. The rumors came out on normal time, so everyone was talking about it then. And for those of you that are reading it for now for the first time, the extra day was well worth the wait, because the chapter was beautiful. Every single moment was perfect. And I'm not going to be able to stop talking about it. And I'm looking forward to next week's chapter so much. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this chapter. It was a phenomenal one. I really think this is going to begin setting up the next step of kind of going into that final arc. You already have an idea that it is in this final conclusion already, but UA being a castle almost would be a great spot for All For One to try and come and storm it and show its defenses, because it doesn't, I guess it makes a little bit of sense to kind of show off how strong UA is, that it's connected to Shigetsu High and all that, but we also have no idea where they are, and we know that pretty much this time All For One and Shigaraki, they're just biding their time trying to grow stronger, so Deku needs to be on the offensive, but maybe coming back to Class 1A and accepting that he's no longer alone, that he feels like he might have the power to wait here, recover, and then let All For One come there and have kind of a Battle of Hogwarts final stand kind of moment happening at UA, which I think would be cool, because it's My Hero Academia, so having it end at the school would be the perfect way to end the series. So very excited to see what happens in chapter 323. It's going to be phenomenal. The story is heating up each and every week. So I will be back next Sunday covering chapter 323. So I hope to see you guys back then. And enjoy this video and have a great day.